All right, let's take a look at what happens when you are given an angle of 45 degrees, and you also know that one of the sides, which specifically the one opposite to that angle, is 18, and we also know that the other side given to us is 24. So if we take a look at the height here, which we've called h, that gives us a right triangle, meaning that the sine of 45 is equal to the opposite, which is h, over the hypotenuse, which would be across from the right angle, or 24. So h is equal to 24 times the sine of 45. So if I put that in my calculator, I get that h is roughly 17. So if h is equal to 17, that makes h smaller than a. So a being 18 could technically either swing inward and create this triangle, or it could swing outward and create a bigger triangle on the outside. We're going to have to describe both of those. So let's draw a little angle here. Um, so when we take a look at this, we have the little triangle with 24, and then this side is 18. And we also have this side being 18. We're going to have two different separate lengths for this bottom side. So let's take a look at what that would give us. We can use our law of sines, knowing that sine of 45 over side A, which is 18, is equal to sine of whatever this angle is. We'll call it capital C, since that's what they're calling that side, over 24. So 24 sine of 45 equals 18 sine of C. So therefore sine of C is equal to 24 sine of 45 over 18. So I put that in my calculator. I have 24 sine of 45, then divide that by 18. I get 0.943. So if I were to take the inverse sine of that, I get, well, I took the sine of it. Let's try inverse sine of 0.94, we'll say 28. I get 70.5 degrees for C. So C is the inverse sine of 0.94, and it is 70.5 degrees. Finishing off the little triangle, we know that B, the angle that is, has to be 180 minus the sum of the other two angles, so 45 and 70.5. And when I put that in my calculator, 180 minus 45 plus 70.5, I get 64.5 for angle B. And then side B, we'll just use the same ratio, so sine of 24 over 18 equals sine of 64.5 over side B. So therefore B is equal to so the 18 sine of 64.5 over sine of 24. I'll put that in my calculator. 18 sine of 64.5 divided by sine of 24 gets me 39.9, or about 40. So those are my three values for the smaller triangle. And unfortunately, now I have to go find those values for the larger one. To get the other angles, we're going to have to look at over here. we have angle C, we're calling that. So to get the other angle C, we have to take into account the first angle C, which was 70.5 degrees. So the other place that that's going to occur is at the acute angle on the other side of the y-axis. So if we have a xy axis here, we'll see that we have 70.5 degrees here. To get 70.5 degrees on the other side, we would need to subtract 180 from that degree measure. So now our new angle C is going to be 180 degrees minus 70.5 degrees, which is 109.5. So now we have to do the same thing that we did before, knowing our sine of 45 to 18 ratio. So sine of 45 over 18 equals sine of 109.5 over little c. I cross multiply. I get c sine 45 equals 18 sine of 109.5. So c is 18 sine 109.5 over sine 45. Therefore, c is equal to let's see, I have 18 there. 18, I missed the 8. So I actually have 23.9, or about 24 for side C, and we'll do the same thing for the remaining side B. We know that sine 45 over 18 equals sine of angle B, which is, in our case, let's see here, angle B, we have to figure that out first. So angle B is going to be the third angle of the triangle, which is 180 degrees, minus, we have 109.5 and also 45. So we have to add those two together, 109.5 plus 45. So that's going to give us 154.5, then 180 minus that value is going to be 25.5. So we're looking at sine of 25.5 over the side of B. So we end up with B sine of 45 equals 18 sine of 25.5. So then B is equal to 18 sine of 25.5 over sine of 45 in the calculator. That gives us, let's see, 18 sine of 25.5 divided by sine of 45. We get 10.96-ish, so about 11. We'll say, I guess we'll say 10.9 for that side. So we found that angle C is 109.5 for the bigger triangle. Side C is 24, and side B is 10.9. So all 6 of those are possibilities, and let's try the review question. Go ahead and see if you can use what you've learned to figure out the sides and angles of this given triangle.